Assalamu alaikum, everyone. My name is Nazim Hasham, and I will be moderating today's panel about the Metaverse. The main question about the Metaverse is this. Pakistan, in the Metaverse, Pakistan is a great cricket nation or the greatest cricket nation? Is there? Okay, no cricket fans here. Good, I'm a Canadian. Let's get into our topic, and the topic today is exploring the boundless possibilities of the metaverse, a new frontier for commerce, creativity, connections. So the big question, since Facebook changed their name last year to Meta, everyone is like, Meta what? We have experts here today for you to answer that question. So I want to ask all of you, what is the metaverse?
Assalamu alaikum everyone. So basically what a basic level definition of metaverse is just replicating the physical world into a virtual world, creating a same environment that we actually face in the real world and replicating it into the virtual world. That's the basic concept and a layman term as metaverse. So basically this is not a new term, coming back from the times of AR, VR, when we actually introduced those devices. That they actually introduced this concept, but as a separate vertical or a separate technology. It was introduced when Facebook actually rebranded itself towards Meta, and so we're actually trying to replicate all the physical aspects that we actually face or feel in our real life into the virtual world. That's the basic concept of what Metaverse is.
Thank you so very much. I don't want to repeat the same thing because he very beautifully placed it. One thing I just want to add, he said that replicating the physical world into the virtual world, and my opinion is creating a world is also included which does not exist. So even if it is in your imagination, because for everything to come to the existence, there should be an imagination first, an idea first. So whatever you can think of, you can create a universe out of it. So like in Star Wars or any other movies, we see that sci-fi movies, we see that they have the equipment, they have the jets, or they have the worlds or cities that does not exist. So even for creating those equipments and cities, there was an idea. So whatever you can ideate, you can create it into the metaverse, into the virtual world. So this is not something that you only have to replicate the physical world into or physical things into. So you can create a man without head. You can create a man without hands probably, or 4 hands or something like that. So anything that does exist in the physical world or does not exist in the physical world can be converted into a virtual universe that is called metaverse or meta universe, whatever it is.
Thank you, Furqan. I think the two gentlemen very well explained what a metaverse is. It is, like Furqan said, anything that you can imagine. There are no boundaries. Whatever it is that you can imagine, you can translate it into the metaverse. You want to be a dragon, you want to fly around, you can't do that in the real world, but you can fly around in the metaverse. Or you can't own a Lamborghini or a Ferrari or a sports car in the real world, but you can, you can do that, or you were already doing that, let's say in GTA 5. I also think GTA 5 is a metaverse, but it is a centralized metaverse. So yeah, creating virtual experiences, they can be gamified. They can be actual real world, like Ali mentioned, real world, twins, or they can be something that you imagined or had a dream about while you were sleeping, and you translated it into a virtual reality. So that, to me, is what Metaverse is all about.
I think that's great, and I think I agree with all of you, actually. So when we talk about the Metaverse right now, there's a big thing about brands, and they're all like, hey, we have to be in the Metaverse. Nike is selling their shoes, Gucci is selling their handbags. I think someone was selling Pakistani jalebi. What you guys have all worked to some degree with different companies. When they come to you now and they say, hey, We want to be in the metaverse. What are you guys providing them and what are you telling them? What are they asking for and what are you able to deliver now?
Look, brands always want to be first movers in, up and coming things that the current generation and are all up on, right? So, Metaverse is the next up and coming thing. Like you said, Facebook rebranded to Meta. That changed the scenario altogether. And that is when brands realize that, look, NFTs are not just images anymore. We have to make something else out of it. And now we see a lot of brands coming up with royalty programs through the NFTs. Starbucks is doing it with Starbucks Odyssey, I think. Adidas did it in the Bored Ape, with Bored Ape, as well as, I think, Endgame or another NFT collection. So yeah, these brands started off with giving, having their own NFT collections and giving utilities like royalty programs. But now they want to have presence within the metaverse as well. So since within the metaverse, there are all these talks about being able to have their own presence, their e-commerce presence within the Web3 space as well. So they want to set up their, presence. They want to be able to sell their, not only their virtual, NFTs within the metaverse, but once the adoption is there, once the tech is there, they want to be able to sell their real world products through the NFTs as well. So yeah, we have been approached by a lot of brands as well, not just Narsun, but also Cloud City Metaverse, because we're building the first metaverse out of Pakistan. Yeah, brands, Pakistani brands as well, especially not just brands, I would also say financial institutes as well. They want to jump in on the bandwagon as well. So yeah, there's a lot of talk about it. I'm happy that Pakistani brands are not staying, far behind. They are realizing the potential, and they're getting in on the game as well. So that's promising.
We're talking about the brands only, and most of the time it happens that brands are the first movers. And I must say that we are not in the era when someone would pick this item as a first mover item. So recently we have a couple of clients in our portfolio right now. Those are not the brands, those are governments. And governments are actually the last movers. They come into the window when everyone is trying to pack up and they just start adopting it. But the nature of the project they want to do is more kind of training related, where their cost for opening up or kind of a machine, a big machinery or a big equipment or something like that, and they have to pay a lot of cost for training their people. And now they can do it in a virtual world. They can create the whole big machinery into a virtual world and then put head-mounted boxes to their technicians, their students, and they can just play around with that machine, with that jet, with that might be missile or whatever, and they can explore each and every component. Even they can fix it out. This type of projects, these are not the concepts, what I'm talking about. These are the real project does exist in our portfolio already. So Nike, Adidas, and this and that, those brands are far behind, far ahead in this game already. So try on is something that in the industry been since 2014 already. So I guess try on is kind of virtual experience, giving a near to actual experience in the virtual experience. When you go to some e-commerce store, you want to try on your glasses, you want to try on your cosmetics probably you want to see that how the jewelry looks like, the t-shirt looks like on your body. So that is somehow we can consider it into the virtual experience, right? So brands are far ahead in this game already, and they've been asking for their when we call it what exactly they require from some tech company. There are two things. One is hardware. That is like head-mounted box probably, or something, an LCD sitting in their store. When someone walks in, they can capture the body, human body, and then convert it to the mat. Another component is actually the universe itself. And the universe includes the environment, backgrounds, the characters, or whatever is inside that hardware. So like every other thing, it has two components, hardware and software. And Meta, the premium thing about Meta is they've been selling Oculus, the hardware thing. And that is the base of Meta, actually. They started talking about Oculus, and then when the hardware is there, everyone has the access to the hardware. Does not matter if it is mobile based, if it is head mounted based, or it is LCD based, or whatever it is, then the software comes into the play. Then the characters and the environments and everything comes in. So the companies do ask for two things, the hardware and the soft component of it.
Yeah, I think for the brands, what the major attraction is right now to jump into Metaverse is the next level of marketing and user experience that they could actually provide to their customers. I think that's the main motivation because that's actually taking e-commerce to the next level. That's actually taking the experience of what you can say high investments in different shops that they are doing. So they are actually bringing it into the hands of the user to actually try it on through a different experience altogether by actually creating their virtual avatars or creating their virtual, what you can say, personality as well. So to try different products based on that. And also, it's actually giving them an additional advantage to study the behavioral sciences that every consumer goes through while they're actually, what you can say, seeing their brand products. So that's how the information is already digital. So it's kind of much easier to actually build upon the decisions for their marketing strategies, for the growth strategies, because they are actually seeing the behavior of their consumers in real time and making decisions in real time. So that's, I think that's kind of the main motivation for the brands to jump into Metaverse at this point of time. But the thing is that they are still struggling to find the best combination of user experiences that they could actually provide to the customer for better adoption. That's kind of where the brands are currently trying to work really hard to build that combination of features, build that combination of experience to provide to their loyal customers. But on the other hand, marketing on the other hand is the next goal that would be pursued in the Metaverse industry.
You guys hit on a lot of things that I still want to talk about. One of them is mass adoption. What is keeping it at this point from becoming endorsed by the masses? Is it a hardware issue? Is it a network issue? Is it a software issue? Is it a user experience issue? I can't say how much I hate the user experience in Web3. Like setting up a wallet is painful, and none of my friends will do it. So to get mass adoption, what's the big hurdles, do you think, right now?
Yeah, there are a couple of hurdles. I'll just talk about two so that these other gentlemen have stuff to talk about as well. User experience, like Ali mentioned, definitely in the early days of Web3, it was very difficult to actually navigate through the UI itself, the user experience itself. Like you said, creating a wallet, and then figuring out how do I actually add money to my wallet, and how do I purchase, and how do I trade and whatnot. And those were the early utilities that you could do with your wallet. There are a lot of other things that you can do now. But yeah, user experience, it has been a journey. I believe that up and coming dApps and GameFi projects as well have improved in terms of user experience. They are trying to mimic what Web 2 was doing, so that it is very user friendly, and people who are the general audience that is trying to get into Web 3 from Web 2, they find it very familiar, the user experience. So it has been a journey, and I think there's still a long way to go. Then the other thing is hardware. I know Furqan mentioned Oculus. Not everybody. So the new Oculus is, I think, around $350. That's like 1 lakh rupees Pakistani. And in US as well, not everybody has $350 lying around in their wallet, right? That's expensive. So, and then the other thing about VR headsets is that I personally cannot wear it for more than 30 minutes. It starts giving me a headache, and then my eyes start hurting as well. So, and then when we talk about metaverses, VR is very associated with a metaverse as well. And that has got to do with a movie called Ready Player One, which is also very much associated with metaverses. So yeah, hardware is an issue. There are some metaverses like Decentraland that did it on web, but the user experience there is not great as well, because on web you are very limited to the resources for a system that a browser can occupy. And then the other approach is that you can have a downloadable executable, but then not everybody is going to be able to download massive builds. And then the last thing is obviously VR. Not everybody has that kind of hardware as well. So hardware is definitely an issue, especially in countries like Pakistan, third world countries. Not everybody can afford, even good computers. Everybody has mobile phones. And then I will also add in one more, since I spoke about mobile phones, one more challenge, and that is support from Apple, Play Store and the Google Play Store. They are very bearish on Web3 projects, especially GameFi projects. And that is also a very big challenge towards adoption to not just Web3 projects, not just metaverses, but Web3 projects in general. So that's my 2 cents.
So hardware is definitely an issue, and we all know that. And it's cost and it's user experience. Like putting a head mounted box onto your head for more than 30 minutes, or like might be my capacity would be 1 hour, your capacity would be 90 minutes, but not more than that. So it is not going to make me addicted. So if I'm not going to get addicted for something, how I can adopt that for longer period, right? So that's one issue. Another thing is why I want to add another gadget to my life. When I have mobile phone, watch, my car console, and then AirPods and this and that, like 5-6 gadgets. In living in Pakistan, you might have to carry a dongle as well. So why you want to add another gadget to your kind of portfolio? And one thing we should understand is the internet and its cost is also huge when we talk about the centralized or even some sort of decentralized one as well. So you're streaming continuously, and the internet, the fast speed internet is required to have a smooth experience. So that is there. Although the hardware costs and issues are like, we know we are kind of jugadu com, and then we try to find cardboard base with mobile, and we portable head mounted boxes. We can create that. You can find a tutorial on YouTube, so where a cardboard based head mounted box can be created with zero cost almost. So I guess that is there. We are kind of little behind exploring and trying to find, go to the YouTube and find that tutorial. I must say everyone sitting in this hall should try this cardboard base at least after going back. So it can give you a basic experience. Many people out of us sitting here might have never experienced that in real with our own eyes or something like that. So I must recommend people going there. So this is how we can spread the awareness, and awareness will lead us to the adoption, definitely.
Well, I think many great points have been put forward already, but I think that what's the major blockage for adoption is it's just like when blockchain was initially introduced. There were not enough apps, there were not enough development platforms, there were not enough user adoption to actually accept it as a value provider in our lives, right? So I would definitely say right now the user education in Metaverse is at the same level as blockchain was back in 2015, 2016. So it's still in the inception phase. And so the basic thing that is needed is actually user education. And as soon as time passes, some great things would come out in terms of applications, in terms of use cases that are being automated through Metaverse, through different type of mixed realities, virtual realities, augmented realities. So based on that, I think that would actually increase the adoption level. Right now, people are still thinking of actually creating the best use case automation, how we can actually automate any singular process in the best way possible through the combination of these realities. So I think that is one part. Of course, a headset part is kind of a blockage, but we have different substitutes for that. We can go for web-based application to actually automating any type of industrial process, business process through that as well. So I think, in my opinion, the major blockage is the time that it's being introduced from, and what has come out in the market.
So I didn't mention this. I thought these gentlemen will. But another major hindrance is regulation. Projects find it very difficult to build or find jurisdictions that are friendly towards them, where they can build. And most of the metaverses that are building, are in the Web3 space. And I know Dubai is kind of a place where a jurisdiction where you can find regulations, but then North America is a very big market, and you want to, tap that market as well. And then, if you want to tap that market, you need to comply with, the North American or the U.S. regulations and the Canadian regulations as well. And that is a big challenge. We've all seen that how SEC, scrutinizes these Web3 projects. And yeah, so I think friendlier regulations towards projects that are trying to build in the space is the need of the hour, and it is one of the biggest hindrances causing mass adoption.
So that was fast. We're apparently out of time. I'm glad that you guys talked about digital twins. I'm glad you talked about regulation. These are some of my questions. We didn't get into what Pakistan's role is going to be in all the metaverse, but I can see that you have great entrepreneurs in the space, and these are people you should probably pick their brains because they know what they're talking about. And so we're going to end on that, and thank you to the panel. And I think we should also thank all the volunteers that came out and made this event possible, and the organizers, because this takes a lot of time, a lot of passion, and a lot of energy, and they deserve a round of applause, I think, as does our awesome panel. So no Q&A, right? Okay. Thank you.